Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we are speaking with a 28-year-old registered nurse who worked in an ER for 4 years and is currently working with a plastic surgeon as a cosmetic registered nurse. She competed in her first NPC show in 2018, where she placed 5th, then got 2nd at her second show, and rested all of 2020 to then come back and get her pro card at her second national show ever with Team Atlas. She created and owns her own resistance band business, Strong Pompis. I hope I pronounced that right. We'll definitely cover that, and seeks to inspire people through her competition journey as a 4'11" competitor who finds discipline and strength in bodybuilding. Very, very excited and grateful to have her on. Welcome to the show, Daniela. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Celeste?
I'm good too. Thank you again for coming on, and I would love if you could correct me. First of all, please tell us what is your business called? Strong.
No, you said it right. It's actually Strong Pompis. So Pompis is actually a Mexican word. It's pretty much like a word to say glutes, but it's kind of like if you're saying your butt.
That's awesome.
So the idea was actually because, well, yes, as you know, I'm super, super extremely Mexican. So I wanted to use a word that it was related kind of like to my roots.
Yeah.
I started the business because of quarantine, because like everybody needed a gym. They closed the gyms here. Well, at least here in El Paso, it was a few months. So everybody was like going crazy about it. So I thought about it. I was like, well, actually you can do like a lot of exercises with resistance bands. And then it comes like with ankle weights as well. And it went pretty good, but to be honest, like right now that I was just like focusing on competing, I stopped like promoting and I wasn't like really like focusing on the business anymore. So I think right now is the time kind of like to start selling again. I think it would be really nice.
Definitely. Yeah. And I'll ask you tons about your business because I am curious to hear more about it and also talk about how it's impacted you as well. And then before we get into all of that, I would regret not asking you the question I ask everybody, which is there something that you do or think about, or maybe a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
Oh my God, that's a good question. You know what? I think like I haven't done like a lot of competitions that I can say like I have a ritual before going to the stage. But I've noticed I do pray before going to stage. Like I take my moment. I know like everybody's like super nervous, especially me. I get super nervous before going to stage. So I usually say a little prayer before and then that's it. I will go to stage. And I noticed it. I did it. Well, my first competition, it was Battle of Texas. And I remember I did it right before the stage. And this time I noticed it because actually they capture a picture like right before going to stage where actually I was praying. And I was like, oh my God, like I didn't realize. Yes, I was really happy with the picture. But I think that's one of the things that I do. I was telling James, like I do get extremely nervous. And Angeline, she's like, okay, you need to focus. You need to think of something sweet, like something that is going to relax you. And I've been working on it, but I'm like freaking out every time. I do.
Well, I don't know if that will ever go away. But if it does, you'll have to let us know. And I think if that's what brings you into a more calm state, then that's awesome. And I think it's really great that it was captured too. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I wonder if she does that every time. So I think that's really cool. And I definitely want to go back to the discussion of your business, and then we'll kind of go over your competition career and we'll talk about what you do for work. So when you were talking about your business, you said that you were inspired to start it because you realized how much could actually be done with resistance band and ankle weights when a lot of things were shut down. So why do you think girls should use resistance bands and ankle weights in addition to their other workouts too?
I actually think because before, I'm gonna be honest, before quarantine, I was one of those that I was only gonna do like squats, heavy lifting, presses, and I really like using resistance bands. I think it was more because actually I was working out with guys, so it was like, guys, they usually don't do anything like that. And so I noticed a difference. Obviously, it has to do with the training, but I think the resistance bands, they help along a lot to help like to shape my glutes. I can see it on the pictures, like I can feel it. Like I can feel it when you do the resistance bands, like you can feel the burning really, really like bad. So I started liking them a lot. Like I use them for everything. And you know what? It got to the point like I know like I don't have like crazy legs or anything, but my quads, they grow really, really, really fast. So I stopped doing, like I haven't done squats. I think it's gonna be almost a year.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yes, because I remember James, he was like, I stopped doing anything for the quads. So no squats. I even stopped doing like lunges or something like that for a while. So I think actually resistance bands are been helping me a lot with the glutes, especially like even like little things like when you do breathers, like you can do it with the resistance bands.
Yeah.
I think you can really see an improvement with it.
Yeah, you definitely have grown so much since you started competing and you've put on a lot of muscle. Yeah, you're welcome. Seriously, I mean, it takes work. And you said that you started by doing more like the compound movements, and you were kind of like, I won't use those things. But then when you're in a position, and a lot of competitors sometimes get told like, oh, don't grow this anymore, or this isn't complementing your shape at the moment, we need to step back. It can sometimes be difficult. So did you ever miss not being able to squat or lunge or do these other things?
Oh my god, yes. Especially the squats, because you get to a point like, oh my god, now I can do two plates. Like you start like,
Yes.
I don't know, like messing around with it. So I do miss it, but it's actually true whatever you're saying. Like right now you're just trying like to detail your body, like even though you don't like it. Let's say, because I love like to do lower body for sure. But now I know like I have to do more of shoulders. So it's like, okay, I don't want to, but it's more like for detail instead of just like something that I like, like, you have to do it for the competition. So you have to kind of like adjust to it, I guess.
Yeah,
But I
like
do
if you want
miss
to
it.
keep
Yes.
going.
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, I remember reading somewhere that you used to be afraid of lifting heavy because of the whole common concern of looking manly. So what shifted for you, and like how did you get into all of this?
Yes, I remember like I didn't want to do upper body because I was like, oh my god, no, I'm gonna get like too bulky and then I'm gonna look like a man. Especially because like I have no implants, like boob implants. So I was like, oh my god, no, I don't want people to see me like that. And it was like whatever they would tell you. Like I remember my ex at the time, he would be like, no, you're gonna be like too manly, and I don't like them like that. And you start believing it.
Yeah.
So after I started lifting, actually, I noticed that like it doesn't matter how much I can, because I cannot lift a lot. I'm tiny, so I noticed that like even if I lift as much as I can, it's gonna take years for me to get like that, like years. So
Yes.
I start like now I like it. Like if I get like huge shoulders, I would be like pretty happy with it.
I
I
always think
really.
about that. I'm like, please, if it was actually that easy to just suddenly blow up and look like a man, like we would
Oh
not,
my god,
you know,
yes, I would love it.
be
Yes.
fine with me. Like that would mean I wouldn't have, like, I don't know, like obviously like the process of building muscle and lifting heavy weights and progressing, but it's just such a crazy misconception because it's like if it was that easy, so many of us would be like, I don't know what bikini would even look like that would be, you know what I mean?
Yes, it would be like all of us like figure or something.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. So you got into it and you ended up deciding, okay, yeah, I do need to do this. It is going to be okay. So what has changed, or maybe what do you think has contributed to the muscle gains that you've had over the years?
I think definitely the diet for sure. I wouldn't say like I'm hungry all the time, like always been like that. But before, like I wouldn't really have like a lot of protein and my carbs and all of that. It was just like pretty much like snacks, I would say.
Yeah.
So diet for sure helped a lot. And then the year that I took my year off because of the coronavirus that we couldn't do anything, I think the lifting helped me because I wasn't afraid anymore, like lifting heavy. There was a time before that I was like, I guess I took it like my off season, but I took it really bad, like eating a lot and gaining a lot of weight. So honestly, I think that helped me as well because it was like a lot of weight, but at the same time, it was like a lot of muscle. So that one helped me like to grow a little bit. And then for a few months, I started doing boxing as well, like boxing classes.
Nice.
So it kind of, yes, it helped me a lot with my upper body because that's my issue right now. So since I don't like to do cardio, it helped me with it and with the upper body at the same time. I was like, okay, it's a really good workout.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
Yes. See, so that one.
So do you have any favorite exercises that you do in the gym for things like shoulders or glutes?
I would say right now for glutes, I really like the bridges. I love them at this time.
Yes.
And for the shoulders, I don't really have one for shoulders. Honestly, I would say boxing classes because you feel the burning. I know it's not really like for them to grow, but it helped them like to have a little more shape, I would say.
Right.
So really, really, really like it right now. And then for the favorite muscle, which is actually like a waste of time, I would say I love doing back. And I know it doesn't count in bikini, yes.
It doesn't count, but then like if you don't train it, something definitely looks out of whack. Like I think it is important, right, for that overall shape.
Yes, like for the X frame, it does help, but I mean, I know it's not like you can move your hair, like flip your hair or anything. But I love doing that.
Yeah, no, me too. It's definitely my favorite to train as well. So when you got into competing, you had always placed really well and you never got below third place, actually. So how did that influence your belief about your ability to become a pro?
Well, actually, on my first national, I'm gonna be honest, like I went, like obviously I wanted to win and I was expecting like for me to win, but it was never in my mentality like, oh, I'm gonna win. I was always like, okay, it's my first national. I know I'm not gonna place. I know it takes like a lot of, because I've heard it like, oh, it's my fifth one. So, and they're not pros yet. So I was like, okay, it's gonna take a while. So I never actually like believe in myself, I would say. And then I remember, well, Jen, Dory, one day she was like, you need to believe it. You need to trust in yourself. Like you need to go on a stage believing that you're gonna win. So I think on my second national, actually, I felt pretty good. And on my second one, I was like, I better win this one because it's so freaking expensive. So I was like, so I better win this one because if not, I was gonna do USA, which is gonna be like in a few weeks. So I was like, damn, I have to spend all the money again and I have to prep for more weeks. I was like, I have to win this one. So I don't know. I think like you really have to believe in yourself. You have to go with the mentality that you're gonna win. But if you don't, like you just have to learn from it. Like for the first national that I got my second place, I learned a lot. Like even James, he said it like it wasn't the timing for you and it was really good for you not to win because there were like few things like you're supposed to know before becoming a pro. Like my tanning, it was a mess. Like on the back of my legs, I would put on my heels on my knees. So everything like it was like fading away. I was, which I didn't know. I was sitting on the toilet like to pee and I didn't know you were not supposed to. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Like I didn't know. I was constantly like for my first national, I was constantly looking on social media. So I knew everybody that it was gonna compete over there. So I was comparing myself with it. And obviously that stressed me out because you see they look amazing. So you already know backstage, like, oh, that's the girl that I saw, and oh, this is the girl that won the overall. And I was like, oh, I need to stop doing that because I'm just comparing myself. And I don't know, like you learn in every show, even for the which I didn't know either. Like, see, when you do your cardio, you can see the calories that you burn on the, I don't know, like just Stairmaster or something. So I didn't know it was different. Like from there, like if you do, I don't know, you use an Apple Watch.
Yes.
So I didn't know that, and then I was supposed to be doing, I don't know, like 200 calories, which it would take me like, I thought like 20 minutes, right? And then whenever my coach, he was like, you're not supposed to be counting the, because I sent him a picture and I was all happy. I was like, oh, it only took me 20 minutes. And he's like, you're supposed to count it with the, like with a watch or something. And it took me almost an hour. So by that, yes, I was like, oh my God. So I pretty much been doing all my prepping wrong because he's telling me to burn. Pretty much he was telling me to do an hour of cardio and I was doing 20 minutes. So he didn't even know that. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know. Like there were a lot of little things that I'm pretty happy that I got that second place. So I can learn all of like everything before being a pro.
I love that mindset that you have of okay, actually it was good that I didn't go pro at the show, and it was better that I got to learn from the experience, because now you're even more prepared for being in the pro leagues and actually competing as a pro, and you learn these lessons, even though some of them the hard way, and having contend with those things that you learn, like the cardio, for example. It also sets you up for more success. So what changed between that show and then 1 month later winning your pro card?
Oh my God, I think like everything. So actually when I got the pro card, my sister, she's the one that goes with me all the time. Well, to the few shows that I've done. So for the last one, she didn't go with me. I was like, you know what? Like I'm not gonna, well, she was working, so she couldn't go with me for the last one. So it was actually kind of like a, like not to be mean, but it was like a, I wasn't as stressed because when she goes with me, you have to think about the other person, you know, like where are you gonna eat? Are you comfortable? You want to do something? You're gonna go walk. And honestly, you have like no energy. Like you don't want to do anything. You just want to like focus on yourself. You just want to eat and sleep. So for this one, like I didn't have to worry about my sister. Like it was just me by myself. The tanning for sure. Like I took care of my tanning like crazy. I was like, nothing's gonna touch my tanning. I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm not gonna move. That one I learned it. I even, well, the peeing, of course. You know, you have to buy the little things so you can pee like a man. Like you don't have to sit on the toilet. So
Yeah.
that one I didn't mess it up. I stopped for a while using social media because I was telling you like I didn't want to compare myself to the rest of the people. By this time I knew already what I needed to take, how I needed to send my check-ins, like using the right, like the lighting. Of course, like I knew about my cardio, what to do, what not to do. The pumping as well, because on my first national, I barely got there in time, so I didn't have the time to pump. So of course my shoulders, they were flat. James got super extremely mad at me. So this time I was like there like early. I make sure like I pump. I wasn't like really like, I remember the day of the show, like I didn't get to eat or drink water or anything because my waist gets like super bloated if I eat anything. So I wasn't even craving or anything. I was just going with a mentality like I'm gonna give my all, and at least it's not gonna be on me like last time that I felt like okay, I screwed up, but I deserve it. You know, like this time I'm gonna change everything, like from the posing, because my posing as well on the first national, it wasn't good at all. Like there's not one picture that I can tell you I'm proud of it. And for the second one, like, oh my God, like I saved every single picture and I was so happy. I was like, yay! Because
That's
even
so cool.
actually, certain people like we're on Team Atlas, right? Which the coach is James.
Yep.
But we have Angie and Claire that pretty much they help us with the posing and how to like flip your hair, how to smile and everything. So Angie even she like coached me on my smile. She's like, you look like you're freaked out right now, so you need to work on it. And I was like, okay, I'll work on it, and I make sure that I change it. So every single detail that we didn't like it, like I told to myself, like I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice. Like this is on me. Like it doesn't matter how much I train, I did my cardio, I diet. Like pretty much I have to do my whole presentations, like thinking that I did my best. So I feel like everything changed. Um, my mentality as well was more like I'm gonna go there and win. And it's weird though, but like for my national where I got my pro card, like nobody knew I was gonna compete but my sister. Like nobody from work, nobody, just my dad and my sister. Because like there's a lot of people, like I know they're trying to be nice with you, but there's a lot of people that don't really get it. And they're just like telling you all the time, like, again, you're eating your chicken and your broccoli. And then they start asking you, like, what do you want to do this? Like, you're just putting yourself through hell for weeks. You're not eating. You look tired. You look so skinny. So I didn't want like any bad vibes on the last one. So I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody. So everybody was pretty happy actually, because when I posted that I won, they're like, we didn't even know you were going to compete. I'm like, I know, yes. Like, I just didn't want to say anything. So I feel like, yeah, it was a really, really good learning experience, like from the beginning to the end, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just everything you shared provided so much insight into what girls who haven't competed before, who have and have made those mistakes and don't know what to do about them, can prepare for going into a show. And of course, there's challenges we face outside of the prep itself. And you said in the past that you had struggled post show. And I wasn't sure if this is something you faced after you won your pro card as well.
About kind of like that eating and all of that.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes, I did. And it was actually, well, it happened to me with the previous one, like the first national.
Mm-hmm.
That one, it was kind of different though, because I knew, well, you compete on the weekend and then you have pretty much Sunday off. And then, well, this is the way we were doing it. Like, we're going to start back on the diet and back on track on Monday. So to me, the way that I was thinking on my first national, it was like, okay, I have Sunday to eat whatever I want, whatever I've been craving for 6 months, I'm gonna eat it today. So obviously, if you think about it, you haven't had any lactose, any like no sugar, like no gluten for months. And then all of a sudden you're eating everything. So you're like super swelling. Your body is asking you for more like sugar, more desserts, more cravings. So it happened in the first one. And I remember I was like, well, it's only one day. That's fine. I'm going to start like on my prep again on Monday. We'll be okay. Obviously, like I retained a lot of water, but I started like prepping right away. So it went away like, I don't know, like few days, right?
Yes.
And for my last one, oh my God, no. So this one, I was like, okay, I already have my pro card. The day of the show, I didn't eat anything crazy. It was just like my chicken and my rice because it's whatever that I had with me. And the show ended up pretty late, so I didn't have the time like to go and eat and celebrate. Plus, it was just like me. I was going by myself. And then on Sunday, because Manion, he took the picture, so I didn't want to be all bloated.
Yeah.
And that was the day that I was gonna travel back home as well. So I didn't get to eat like crazy, I would say. It was just like pretty normal, which I felt pretty happy because I was like, oh, okay, I'm back on my diet. Like I don't have any cravings. But for the whole week, I was eating like crazy. I was eating like all the desserts you can imagine, all the ice cream, everything that I was craving. And it got to the point, and it's like I wasn't even hungry. Like I wasn't hungry. My belly was full, but I couldn't stop eating. Like I remember I went to Dunkin' Donuts to buy some donuts. I couldn't even eat them. Like it was just like one bite because my belly was like so distended, so bloated. And it got to the point that I was like, okay, well, it's just for a few days. Like I'll go back to it. I'm not going to get fat or anything. Obviously, I was already like 10 pounds over in less than 5 days. And I was like, well, it's water retention. So we'll be okay. But I remember I was with one of my patients and I was trying to explain a procedure. Like I think the patient was gonna get like fillers or something. And by the time that I was explaining everything, I couldn't even breathe. Like I swear to God, I was like gasping for air. And that never happened to me before. And it was because I ate so much and I still wanted to keep eating, but I'm telling you, like I wasn't hungry. So I was like, I need to stop. Like I usually have my heart rate like on the 40s, maybe 50s, and I was like on my 90s, almost 100. I couldn't breathe. I was distended, gassy. I was like, okay, something is happening right now. So I started like, of course, like, well, I'm a nurse, so I knew about the hormones. I knew about the lifting, that you have the hormones. They're supposed to tell you to stop eating. Obviously, they were not working on me because of my diet. Um, so I was like, okay, yeah, like I need to stop. I'm gonna stop eating. I was reading there's a lot of people they have binge eating disorder right after, and I was like, I don't want that to happen to me. Like I got my pro card and I wanna do something with my fitness. Like I eventually want to go to Olympia. I'm crazy about the Arnold, so I would love to be in the Arnold one day. And when I sent my check-ins to James, of course he was like, he has no filter. So he was like, you're eating crap. That's why you have your waist like that, and you have to go back on your diet. So I did actually, and by day 6, you can tell right away, like 5 pounds less. I don't feel bloated. I don't have the cravings anymore. So what it's been helping me right now is that I know that I have a pretty much like my meal plan, and like one day out of the week, like let's say today morning I saw my sister, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go eat with her. I'm not gonna have anything crazy, but just the fact that knowing that you're not eating the same, it helps a lot. So I've been trying to find also like, I don't know, like healthier options. Like there's some really good muffins. I don't know if you heard of them, from a Smart Bakery. I don't know if you heard of them.
I don't know.
They're super sweet. They're super good, and they only have like 30 calories. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm really, really craving something sweet, I'm gonna eat one of those. But for the most part, I'm trying to stick pretty much to the plan. I'm switching my meals a little bit, like adding like, I don't know, I'm making like a waffle sandwich with egg whites. So I will feel like a little bit different. Like it's not always the same, but it's still trying to do the reverse diet properly. So I won't have to feel, I'm not gonna say like disgusting, but that's not really the way I feel. But I want to feel proud of myself. Like I don't want to be just one of those, like I got my pro card and then yeah, bye. Like I'm not gonna do anything for my body. Like I feel this has to be like for you to be healthy, not just for a card, like not just for pictures or anything. Like it's a journey, and I want to do it again. Of course, I'm gonna take some time off so I can grow, but I want to do it again, and I want to show, of course, like my team Atlas and everybody, like we can do it, and you can do it in a healthy way. You don't have to be starving all the time. Like you don't have to be eating out all the time. And also for people not to be scared, because it happened to me, and I still feel a little bit like that. Like if I go eat in a restaurant or something, like I don't want to screw my diet. Like okay, I'm eating this, but should I eat it? Should I not? Should I wait till I get home? So I don't want to be scared tampoco, like of eating outside all the time. Like I have pretty much like to learn how to fit my meals according to my diet, like find like healthier options, like also know that one meal is not gonna like make me gain 5 pounds. Like I feel like it's a really like a mental game that you have to learn how to play.
Yes, it is. It's all mental. And I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing your experiences so openly and vulnerably. I can tell you, I have worked with and helped lots of women who have been where you were and even parts of where you are as well. And it's not always about the diet and the training, like competing goes so much further. It's really deeper than surface level, and oftentimes we forget to focus on that. And so I think it's great that you're finding more ways to create some flexibility, focus on your mindset, making sure that you're in a good place so that the next time you compete, you are not feeling as restricted or really as restricted. And I just appreciate you being open about those experiences. They are common for competitors. And you guys, if you're listening to this and this is something you're struggling with, I'm going to do a shameless plug and just say, sign up for my free food relationship program. You can do that at celestial.fit/food series. It's free. There's no obligation to work with me after. I did create it for competitors to work through these things. And I think that it would be really beneficial for anybody listening who might be struggling with this or who thinks they might struggle with it, because it is something that can happen and we don't want to be naive to think it won't. And Danny, I think you did a really great job of showing people that you don't have to be afraid of it. You can come out of it. It can be okay. You can make changes. And I just think it's awesome that you were able to do that.
Yes, and it took some time. I think that really helps. Like knowing that it could happen to you, that you can prevent it before. I think that's something like everybody needs to know. Like, okay, you're gonna feel like you won already, like you don't have to be on track anymore. That is good to know. Like, okay, you don't have to eat everything on one day. Like
Yeah.
you can do a little bit one day and then wait. And it's like you said, like it's really good to have a support system, and like the program that you have. I didn't know about it before, so I think that would have like helped a lot. So I would
Yeah.
really, I'm gonna look into it as well. I'm really interested in it.
Oh, for sure. I'll send you a link to it. That way you have it. I think it would be awesome. And again, it is really about that support system, just reemphasizing what you said. And I do think too, like it's scary because we think like, oh, that's what happens post show. Like that's normal and people normalize it as well, but it doesn't have to, like it doesn't have to be that way. And you found that out, like, oh, I can space this out. I can be more mindful about it. I can change my choices, and we have to be willing to change and address the problem. And so I think it's great that you weren't like, okay, I'm not going to ever check in with James again. I'm not going to, give up on all my goals. It's like, what do I need to do? And you mentioned being a nurse really gave you some perspective too, as some of your heart rate changed, the way that you're feeling about just speaking, change, the way that you're feeling changed. So how does your background as a nurse influence how you see the entire process of bodybuilding and making sure you're healthy throughout the journey?
Oh, it actually helped. Well, right now that you mentioned James, I knew he was gonna be pissed. Well, not pissed, but he was gonna tell me like, "Stop it and grab." Like that's the first thing that he said. But as a nurse, I think I kind of know like, okay, I can do all the cardio and I can do all the diet, and like I knew how my body pretty much was gonna react. Like obviously I was gonna be tired, which I knew. I shake my labs right after, like making sure my kidneys, my liver, like everything was fine. And that's also like I think a lot of people they're not really doing. We need to make sure like we have our labs on point. I knew about the pretty much like the leptin, the hormones that they're gonna tell me to stop eating or to stop the cravings. So I feel as a nurse, I knew better and I still did it. Not that I really care that I didn't care. It was just I'm telling you, like I just couldn't stop, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, the nursing background pretty much helped me in a sense. Like I know also as well, right before competing, I don't know if it happened to you, but you get in a really bad mood, like your hormones are everywhere. Like if some of the girls are listening, like if they don't have their period anymore, it's because of the dieting. Most likely it's just gonna come back whenever you go back pretty much like to be a normal person, like eating normal. So everything is affected, I guess. It's a healthy sport, but it's not. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna do crazy hours of cardio. You're gonna eat just a little bit for a few weeks. You're putting your body through a lot. So your hormones are gonna be everywhere, and you have to know not when to stop, but what to expect. Like you cannot
Yes.
just go like, oh yeah, well, like I don't know, like your kidneys for sure they have to you're playing with the sodium with the water. A lot of people they're taking like supplements, steroids, or something that it might even affect your liver. So I feel like if you do it right, if you check your labs, if you do everything, if you have no period for a while but you're going to your doctor making sure everything is okay, like that's fine. But obviously you're having something really odd and you just like keep dieting, competing because you don't care, like you're gonna get to the point I feel like you're not gonna be able to do it anymore because you're not really taking care of your body and your health. So I feel like everybody needs to, and honestly, if you have a really good coach, they will tell you everything. Like they won't let you go or like starve and do 20 hours of cardio a day if they really care about you.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to accept those extremes exist in the sport,
Yes.
and that's part of why I think too, like knowledge is not immunity, right? You can know everything and still struggle because there's things that you're just going to face as a competitor that come up biologically, which, sometimes because of the process and
Yeah.
psychologically, right? So it's like know that it can happen, but then prepare to face it. And like you said, you're getting your labs done, you get things checked, you're making sure that you're with a coach that's supporting you the best way that he can. And I know that you had switched coaches, or you found him for some reason. So what inspired you to work with this new team and change maybe the methods that you were previously following?
Well, actually, he's been my first like official coach, I would say.
Oh, awesome.
Before, yes. Well, before for the Battle of Texas, I was training. Well, my ex is the one that was like coaching me and training me and telling me what to do.
Got
But
it.
I know there's a lot of girls that are training with their boyfriends, but they're always gonna tell you look good. Doesn't matter how you look. He was always like, you look amazing. My posing suck. I had a belly. My quads were too big. But obviously, it was my first competition. I didn't know pretty much like anything about it.
Right.
So he was training me. It was pretty good. It got to the point that he wanted to compete as well. Well, he was already a pro, so he wanted to compete on a pro level.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not going to be selfish. Like, you need to train for yourself so I can find a coach. So I remember like I started asking and asking and asking, like really good, like, you know, the coaches with really good like names. And so I signed with one and I paid for it. And I was ready to start. And then I don't know, I don't remember who I saw, but I saw that this girl was training with James. And so I started looking at Team Atlas and I was like, oh my God, like he has amazing results and he's really good. So I remember I asked him, and from all the coaches that I asked, like if they wanted to train me, he was the only one that told me like, okay, send me a picture, send me like front and back, and what is your goal? And I was like, okay, well, I already qualified for nationals. I want to do nationals, and this is my picture. And then he told me the price right after. He was the only one because the rest I would ask them, and right straight off the bat, they would tell me, okay, this is the price for this month, you know, like, and I paid for it. And I was like, yeah, well, everybody's like that. So when I saw that he first asked me, I was like, okay, first of all, that means he's not gonna accept everyone. And he's pretty much letting me know that, okay, well, I need to make sure that I can make you win. You know, like I want to see you and I want to know what is your goal to see if I can make you like accomplish your goal. Not only like asking you for money and then, yeah, I'll see you for 6 months. So I canceled my agreement with the other coach. Obviously they just gave me a refund. Like I don't remember if it was like 75% or the 50%, but they didn't give me the whole amount. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Like I prefer to be with someone that it seems like they care.
Yeah.
And since then I've been pretty pleased with him and well, all the rest of the team. Like I love that they have no filter. They will tell you everything straight up. If you messed up, they're not always like when you're check-ins, they're not always like, oh, you look amazing. No, they will tell you like, okay, you're missing this, you need to practice this on your posing. Like even if you win, like even when I got my pro card, he was like, okay, you look good. This is your 100%, but you need to grow glutes and shoulders. If not, this is the most that you can give. And I'm like, okay, well, now I know what we have to do and we're going to work on it. And he will never tell you like, oh yeah, you look great. Bye. No, like I feel like it's worth it. Yeah, it's pricey, but I mean, you have to think about it. Like you have someone there coaching you, guiding you, telling you from head to toe what to do, your hair, your makeup, your smile, your jewelry. He would change, like if you compete, I don't know, this guy, he never sleeps, like never. Like if you compete, he will ask you to send like check-ins every hour. He would reply to you if you're competing, I don't know, like at 9 a.m, and right there is like 2 a.m over there. He would wake up and answer. Like he's really good. So everybody that is thinking, and I have a lot of girls asking me like, hey, what do you think? Do you think I should do it? And I feel like they have the mentality just because like it doesn't matter, you're like, because it happened to me on nationals, and there was a girl that she was kind of like afraid to ask me because she felt like she was also class A and it's pretty much the competition. I was not gonna tell her to join the team, you know? Right. And I was like, yeah, like, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we're the same height or anything. Like at the end of the day, you're going to compete with girls like taller than you. Now that I'm a pro, I know I'm going to go with huge girls that I have to do something about it because I need to be seen, you know? So it's not like, yes, it is a competition, but I feel at the end of the day, we all have to help each other. And I mean, if someone is asking me and I can help them grow as a team as well, of course I'm gonna tell them to join the team. Like it's not a mentality like, oh no, because I don't want Angie to teach you how to pose, I'm not gonna tell you. You know, like no, like we all have to learn. And that as well, like the posing, oh my god. I don't know how to walk in heels. I'm one of those, like I'm wearing tennis shoes all the time. Like, yes, like heels. It was like, no, never. So imagine that, like Angie, she had to help me with posting like from 0 to 100 in a few months. So that as well, that actually I would advise that if you want to compete, start with the posing right away. Every single day, work on the posing because it doesn't matter how good you look if you don't know how to pose. That's it, you're out. So that
true.
Yes, it helps.
Yeah, she came on the podcast and gave so much amazing insight, and I appreciated that. And I could tell, she's helped you a lot. And I like how you said, from one pro qualifier from one national show, you didn't like many of your pictures. And then after that, you focused on your posing, you improved in other areas as well, like you mentioned. And it obviously paid off. And now you're really proud of that look. And going back to that first national show, it seemed like people had really been expecting you to win and to go pro. Did you feel pressure? Did you feel upset? Okay.
Yes. I didn't feel upset. Like, yes, at the beginning.
Right.
And you know what it got me? Like, even when I was told by James, like, you'll get it when you're ready. That's what he told me. And to me, it was like, okay, like I wake up right at 4 a.m. to do my cardio. I did all my meals. I didn't cheat. I paid a lot to be here. I am ready. Like, I know I am ready. And he's like, no, you're not. You'll get it when you're ready. And that's why I didn't understand at the time. And of course, your friends are going to love you. And all of them, they're going to be like, oh, you should have won. You look better than this girl. And look at your legs. But yes, like I told you, like now that I did my last national, I'm pretty happy that I didn't win that one. Because yes, the posing, I wasn't like really proud of it. It wasn't like my best package, I would say. So of course I was disappointed, but at the same time, if I wouldn't won my pro card at the time, I wouldn't probably be at the level that I'm not saying I'm not like on a high level right now, but I wouldn't be on the level that I am right now. I wouldn't improve my posting. I will probably go to a pro stage without knowing a lot of things that I learned on this one. So like I told you, it's a learning experience. But yes, it sucked because I mean, like James, he would post like she's gonna get her pro card the first attempt and blah blah. And a lot of people like, yeah, she looks super good. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't get it. Oh yeah, I feel like, oh shit. And I was even with my sister, even at the beginning, like before competing, I was like, if I don't get it, are you gonna be mad? Like, are you gonna be proud of me? And then she was all like, no, like you don't have to win, don't worry. It's like just give your best and blah blah. But yeah, I'm telling you, like my mentality wasn't there. I was late. I didn't have the time to pump my tonic. Like I didn't. And yeah, I wasn't there. But yeah, you get disappointed, of course. And I'm pretty sure it happens to everyone. Like everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to give their best. Even when you already got first place and you go for the overall and you don't get it, you're like, oh damn it, I didn't get it. But at the end of the day, like you're happy, whatever you did. So I feel we're always gonna be there and we want more and more and more.
So true.
Yes.
Like celebrating what we achieved and what we learned and also being ready to do better.
Of course, yes.
So I know that the Danny in prep and the competitor Danny is different than day-to-day Danny. And you've mentioned that many areas of your life are not as organized or as maybe focused as prep. So can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So for everybody that knows me, they know I'm kind of like a mess. I would say like my car is usually a mess. My room is a mess. Like I can go to work with my hair not really done, no makeup. My nails are all broken right now. Like I'm one of those. Like I'm not really girly. I'm not really like I don't really care like to be like all like pretty all the time. But with the prepping, like, yes, like it would be like no extras. I would eat exactly like every 3 hours. Like everybody he would tell me to do, I would do it. I would measure my salt. I will meal prep for sure. Like wake up in the morning to do my cardio. Like my whole routine, it was right on point. But when it comes like to daily life, like I'm not really like anyhow. I don't know. Like it's crazy. Like I can have like I don't know, like a schedule. I would say like on the weekends I'm gonna meal prep and I'm gonna have everything ready for tomorrow. And yeah, like I have like a really good like I like to have a routine. I would say, but yeah, like me myself as a person, I am a mess. Like I have to accept it. Like my toes right now, I'm looking at them and they need to be done. So yes, I'm one of those. But I mean, nothing like crazy. Like I do shower, but it's just like
Oh
I
my
don't like to do
God.
like I don't
Glad you
like to like go
clarified that.
to yeah, but that I mean that's the only reason. Of course, like you have to have a lot of discipline for the sport. So it's been helping me a lot on my daily life as well. But you have to prioritize sometimes. Like to me, it was like, okay, do I want to do my hair today, or can I use those? I don't know, like 20 minutes, like either to do my cardio or to sleep. And of course, it wasn't to do my hair.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm still right now. I have a little bit more of time, so I have no excuse, but I'm working on it.
I'm very similar to you in that regard, where it's like the way I prioritize my time is really a reflection of the things that matter or that are of most pressing need, right? Like if you're in prep, you got to do your cardio, you got to prep your food. Like your nails should not be, personally, I don't think they should be at the top of your list. Like sometimes it doesn't make sense to do that. So no, I get that. And I would love to hear more about your lifestyle as a nurse, because you started in the ER and then you moved on to cosmetics. So what changed? What was your experience like in the ER that then eventually led you to where you are now?
Well, actually, I learned a lot in the ER, but it was my first job as a nurse. So like your first job, you're really excited, you're really happy, you get to see a lot of traumas, you're on your toes all the time and you don't care. You can do overtime and you don't really mind. But it got to the point, like, I mean, it's 12 hours, 3 to 4 days a week. So you don't really have time to do anything. So when everything like started like getting bad, like with the virus and everything, we would have to do mandatory overtime, which it was like 4 days a week, every week. And they change your schedule. It's not like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. No, it's like some days you can work 4 in a row or three and rest one and then two and then one. So it was like first of all, you can tell everybody was pretty unhappy with it. Like pretty unhappy. You would go to work and everybody was complaining. So it wasn't like really a place you would like to be there anymore. So one of my plans was like I wanted to do travel nursing because honestly, they were paying really good. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. Like I'm still gonna be doing the same, but they're paying me more. Like I have no kids, no pets or anything. Like I can just live and work like everywhere.
Mhm.
And by the time I remember, I asked one of the doctors, a cosmetic doctor, if they were hiring. And he was like, yes. So I was like, oh my God, like this is pretty nice. Like it's 8 to 5, where the holidays. At the beginning, I was like thinking like you don't really do anything. Cause I mean, if you compare like being like 12 hours working straight, like not stopping or anything to cosmetic, is like, okay, you don't really have to use your brain for cosmetic. Like you don't have to worry the patient is declining. You don't have to assess your patient or making sure your patient pretty much is not gonna die. Like I'd see it right now, like whatever I'm doing is more like art because you have to, like Botox, fillers, making sure they look symmetrical, they look pretty, they feel pretty. And it's also like you see a lot of people, they have a lot of issues with their confidence, I would say. Like they don't really feel pretty, they just really want you to make them feel they're worth it. Like they're pretty, they're handsome, they can look better. So it's still a nurse, like you're still helping people in a sense, but obviously like stress wise it's like 80% less for whatever I'm doing right now. And I love it. Like before this, I would never like, I would think like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get Botox. That's for people like they want to look fake and I don't like fillers and blah blah. But I also learned like you don't have to look fake. Like you can do something, and if you do it right, it will give you a really good improvement without looking like a fake person or a plastic person, And it helps a lot with the autism as well. Like with the like you can see when someone feels better just by injecting Botox. It's something super simple, but it's still something that helps a lot. And I mean bodybuilding as well, it's a sport that you like, you have to look not pretty, how can I say, like you have to look presentable, I would say. So I feel like they're both connected. Like bodybuilding, for sure, you have to make sure like head to toe you look on a point, and then cosmetic as well, it will give you like the same effect. Like it will make you look better and feel better, and it's just like something really 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 easy that you can do to help them feel that way.
I find this topic so interesting, and I really, really am glad that you're bringing it up, because in the competition space and fitness industry altogether, it seems like plastic surgery and fillers and Botox are really common. And to be honest, I never really thought about it much until I saw that almost majority of the people in my feed had it, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why is everybody looking like this? And I would love if you could share maybe the most common thing you see competitors come in for, and if that changes from prep to improvement season.
Well, actually, and I've seen competitors as well, Botox is a huge one. When you lose a lot of weight, I don't know, you see like your face pretty much goes like, you can see like you're skinnier for sure, like from your face, and you lose volume as well on your cheekbones. So you can see more the wrinkles. So Botox is a big one they would use all the time. The only thing, like at least for me, it was like, okay, you cannot work out for 24 hours after.
No.
So to me, it was like, okay, is that a priority or not? Like, so I didn't get it. Like, the only thing I've done to myself is Botox, I'm gonna be honest. But to me, it was like, I'm gonna wait until I compete, because I'm not gonna stop working out for 24 hours for this. Like, I can have my wrinkles, it doesn't matter. So that's one of the common ones. And then I would say fillers on your cheekbones, because as I was telling you, like you lose your volume on your face and you can tell right away. And if you give them a little bit of volume, it doesn't seem like you're unhealthy, because there's a lot of people, you even look unhealthy because you're losing volume on your face. So a little bit of filler in there, like lips for sure. Like a lot of people, they do their lips. And it's still though, I also had that mentality before, like, oh my God, no, you're gonna look crazy and fake, and no, like you shouldn't do that. And now that I'm working there, it's like, oh, okay, well, a lot of people, they can do it and look pretty much normal. They look better. But I mean, it doesn't, sometimes you cannot even tell whatever they did. You just look at them and you're like, you look better, but I don't know what is it that you did. So I feel like I would actually, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I think everybody should do it. But definitely, I think they should at least consider Botox for sure. Like it would change their life.
Why do you think
so.
it's like strange, or maybe I think people are being more open about it now, but why do you think some people are hesitant to say that they've gotten it?
I think because they don't want people to criticize, like, because I think it depends. Like to me, I mean, I'm Mexican, so like Mexican families are like, you don't need that. You don't need it. You're gonna look fake. That's where people like they don't really comfortable with themselves, and if you're gonna look older, that's fine. So I feel like it's kind of like how you grew, I guess, because that's the way I grew. So I was like, yeah, I don't like people with Botox and blah blah. But I feel like right now it's something like, yeah, a lot of people, they're really open about it. I'm gonna be honest, there's still a lot of people that would do it, and they don't want people to know they did it. Like I don't know, like in a sense, I guess they want to look good without telling their secrets, I guess. Or I think they're just avoiding people because there's a lot of people, they're close minded, so they start like talking about everything that you do. So I think in a sense it's just like to keep into themselves and avoid like the criticism of the people they cannot really accept it. Of course, if you get to the point like you look all crazy, yes, like, and even right now as a nurse, if I feel like you don't need it, I would tell the patients like, you know what, I feel like you already have too much. I don't feel comfortable injecting you, and yeah, they would even, most of them, they actually really happy that you told them, and they accept it. They're like, okay, yes, I'm not gonna get anything else. And I feel
Wow.
kind of like the sport as well that I was telling you, like you want more, you want more, you win. It's the same with the cosmetic industry. Like you get something done and then you can see like they want more. And then you fix one little things, like you will fix their, like, let's say they're gonna do lips, and then you see them again. Now they want to do more fillers, and they want to add this and that. So they get to the point that they look like too much. So you have to tell them, like, you know what, you need to stop. Like you don't need it. You're already looking kind of like different than the way that I met you. So I would advise them, if they don't really need it, I would tell them like, no, I don't feel comfortable. And actually I had some patients like, I don't feel comfortable, and I would even tell one of the nurses, like the rest of the nurses, to do it, because I'm like, I don't want them to, because they're gonna ask, like, who did it, oh, Danny did it, and they're like, oh my god, I'm not gonna go with Danny because she or he looks super fake.
Right.
So obviously you don't want that as well. But yeah, I think a lot of people, they're more open right now about it.
No, definitely. I think so too. And I was curious if you can tell when someone's gotten it.
You know what? You can sometimes, depending on whatever they did. Like, I feel like Botox, you cannot really tell because, I mean, you didn't see the person before the wrinkles, I would say. Like, if you would see me, you will be like, oh, I didn't know she had wrinkles on her CrossFit, like on her eyes.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Botox, you cannot really tell. But fillers, yes. I feel like fillers, you can tell right away. Maybe because I've been doing it now for a while, I can really tell when you get the fillers. But if you do something really subtle, like, I don't know, like under eye, so you won't look as tired, I feel like something like that, you cannot really tell.
Yeah, so I think I was curious because you do see it every day. You see it all the time. So I thought, she probably has an eye for it too. And I think it's great that you're so honest. Just like you appreciate having an honest coach, you're an honest nurse with your patients. I think that that's awesome. And I know because this is common in the competitor space, and there's probably people listening who haven't felt comfortable to explore this topic. And there's people who will never get it, like, or say they never will. Like, I personally am in this state of mind where I'm like, I don't want to. I've always wanted to see how I age, to be honest. But I also know that it doesn't make you better or worse for getting it or not getting it. And it's kind of similar to other things in this industry. But that's besides the point. So I wanted to know if you could share with us a little bit more for competitors to consider, because I've always been curious when our bodies can change quite a bit from prep to improvement season. It doesn't have to be extreme all the time, especially, when you're in a place where your muscle mass is really where you want it to be. But I think there are times where you'll fluctuate. And I was curious how that amount of filler or that amount of Botox or even breast size needs to be considered or chosen when competitors are in these different phases of their body shape.
Yes. So honestly, I would say for Botox, you don't really have to worry about it. If you lose weight or gain weight or you're already like on your peak week, it's not gonna really affect the results. I would say maybe for the fillers, because you're gonna be, yes, let's say you get fillers right now and then you're gonna lose more weight. So I think it's gonna affect kind of like the shape they already gave you, because it's not the same fat that you have in your face. So I think fillers is something that you could really, unless you're gonna do your lips, it's not like your lips that, no. And actually, you know what? Um, this is maybe like too much information, but well, I'm not gonna say who, but so I know a guy that he got his lips done, which I'm gonna be honest, I do not approve it for guys. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's like, unless you really need it, but I feel like lip fillers on guys, you can tell right away. Like, you can tell you got lip fillers. So I knew this guy and he got him. And of course they look big, right? Like, you can tell he got the fillers. And then not to the point like, oh my God, but you can tell right away. Like, everybody noticed it, everybody told him. And then whenever he prepped for a show, of course you're all dehydrated, especially for a guy. So you can see like the face like super super skinny and then huge lips.
Oh yeah.
So that changed the appearance a lot. Like I feel like something like that it could really affect you in a sense, because I mean it changes your whole face. So I feel like if you're gonna get fillers, you should wait pretty much until you're on the stage that you're gonna maintain. But honestly, I cannot really tell you a lot about the breast implants because I don't have any. I would like to get them for sure. Like that is something that I would like to get before my pro debut. But I also heard and I've seen even like patients, it changed your whole aspect. Like it could be for the better or the worse. Like maybe you can look better, especially for competitors. Like we need the X frame. If you get a size that is really gonna improve your shape or is gonna make you look better, I think that's really nice. But if you get to a point like they're either too big or too small, there is one like looking to your right, the other one looking to your left, like it's gonna affect your whole physique. I think that's something that is really, really scary actually. And that's why like I want to get him, but honestly I'm a little bit scared that it's gonna affect my X frame, that I'm a little bit like, oh my god, imagine like I'm trying to look better and then I messed everything up because of some implants, and I could have just like stuffed my bra with, I don't know, like with Connor or something.
Yeah.
So that's something that I cannot really advise on that one, but I do want him. Like I'm one of those like yes. And I feel most of us as competitors, like we get to the point like yes, like we know we're gaining muscle, we know we're losing our fat, and obviously if you're losing your fat, you're not gonna have any breasts anymore, and it could really make you look more. And it's not like you need it. You don't need them to compete, but it might help you with your physique, like with the X shape. So I think that's something that most of us would think about it.
Yeah, I think it's something I always find it interesting because, to be honest, like since we're being so transparent on this podcast as always, but I think sometimes I see girls with them and I'm like, why does it look different on this girl than this girl? Like when they're super lean, for example, and sometimes like just being straight up, it looks like tennis balls or baseballs and not like
Yes.
like I hate to, and by the way, this is not like to say, oh, it looks terrible and I can't believe it. It's just to say I noticed there's a difference. And so that would freak me out too, personally, being like, you what if that changes your look on stage for not a positive reason, which then makes me think maybe you shouldn't get them just for the aspects of competing, get them for other reasons too.
I
Like,
know.
you know?
Which is true, yeah. And a lot of people they're telling me like, don't do it just because you want to compete. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know. And yeah, being honest, that's a big reason. Like I wanted him before, like years before competing, but it was like, yeah, I don't really need him. And right now, like, well, I think it will look better and it will help me with the shape and it will help me with this. Maybe I won't look as small on my upper body.
Yeah.
But yeah, I shouldn't do it just because of that, because then I'm gonna regret it if I do.
I'm not saying you specifically, but I think it's just like it's one of those things where it's such a, and this is like just like choosing a coach is important, just like choosing how you're going to fuel your body is important. Like these are things that require thought, and I'm so grateful that you're so open because I've never explored this topic really, and I just think there's a lot to consider. Even like I'll get into like deep into prep, and your face, like you said, you see more wrinkles because you just like you're not filled out, you don't have like cheeks really. And then you see guys, you can like see their like cheekbones almost. And it's kind of interesting. You can see all the way through their face sometimes. But like, do you think there's anything people should consider before getting plastic surgery or cosmetic work like this, especially if they're a competitor, before committing to it?
I think as far as cosmetic, because you can do everything normal and you can go back to work on the same day. But if you're really like crazy about it, like I was on my prepping, I would say like, is it really worth it? Like stop working out and doing your cardio for a whole day so you can do your Botox. Like is it really worth it? Like you have a lot of wrinkles, like that you cannot really wait 4 more weeks, or are you really gonna have a day off? I mean, if you do have a day off, I would take that day. Like, okay, yes, this is the day that I'm gonna do my Botox so I can do everything normal.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't like, you know what? And even little things like that, when you white your teeth, like the teeth whitening.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do it. And there's a girl from here from El Paso that she's really good. And then she was like, okay, but you cannot drink coffee for a day, and everything has to be like white foods, like bread, cheese, rice, like nothing like is gonna like pretty much affect your color. And I was like, okay, no, I need my sweet potatoes. Like I was like, I don't want to do it right now. So little things like that, I feel like you really have to think like, is it really worth it? Is it gonna affect my diet? Can I do it like another day? Maybe because I'm really new on this, like I'm really like I want to do everything exactly as told. Like if James would tell me to have sweet potatoes, I'm not gonna change it for rice because he told me sweet potatoes. But I know there's a lot of people that are already to that point, like, yeah, I mean, you can have something else instead. I think those kind of people that they have more experience, they can do it with no problems. Like, yes, they can adjust to it. It's not gonna kill you, or it's not gonna affect your placing if you don't do cardio for one day. But to me, my mentality was like, no, like I have to do it because he told me to do it. So I think that's something. It's just pretty much it depends on the person. But yeah, like cosmetic, like any fillers, any hydrofacials, any Botox, any lasers, you can do it in a day. You can go back to work, to your normal life. It's just the working out for 24 hours. To me, that got me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually really like that because I didn't know those things, and I'm sure people have gone into those situations not asking about that and finding out after the fact that they have to change things, which is which would be very stressful. So thank you for imparting that wisdom on us about what maybe should be asked or considered before doing these things. And you just mentioned lasers. Now what is that? Like laser hair removal, laser skin treatments?
We do both. Laser hair removal for sure. And actually that we're thinking about talking about the prepping. Also, like when you do your tanning, they usually tell you to, like, you're not supposed to wax like a week before, and you're supposed to shave like, I don't know, like I think like 24 hours before or something.
Yeah, I think it depends on the tan.
Something like that. Like I'm telling you, like I don't really know much about it, but also for them to know, like if you're doing the laser hair removal or thinking about it, you cannot do it. Obviously, you cannot do it like 3 days before the show because you're gonna be like all irritated. And then you cannot do it after the show because you still have the tanning. So pretty much you're gonna look like a cow. Like it looks like the little patches.
Oh no.
So that's also a good thing to know. But yeah, we do offer like lasers like for your skin. You have like little pigment. We also do a laser hair removal. We have treatments like for people they want to lose a little bit of fat on the abdomen, like to tone it, or we have like machines like with radio frequency that would help. Microneedling. It's all pretty much like the aesthetics, the beauty, like everything that you can think about your skin. And I'm telling you, like maybe a lot of people they don't know about the treatments and that's why they don't really open about it. Like I learned a lot when I started working over there. Like I had no idea about, and plus I wouldn't even like wear sunscreen before because I was like, for what? And then that I've seen the people like they don't use the sunscreen. I'm like, oh my god, we all have to. We have to like change your skin like crazy. So I feel like it's more that we have to learn about it so people would be more open. Like, okay, yes, like I get in this because it's gonna help me. It's gonna like Botox, like there's a lot of people like, oh no, because you're barely on your 20s, but they don't know it's actually gonna help them to prevent the wrinkles instead of like, I don't know, like you can see right now a little old lady, like a 65-year-old lady that she's been using Botox since she was 30. And then one lady that she never done it before, and you can tell right away, like the one that's been doing it for 30 years, you can see like no wrinkles, like a pretty face against the other one that she wanted to age as normal, I would say. You can see the huge difference, like who's taking care of their skin before, you can tell a little things like that. But I see like you need to be exposed so you can kind of like approve it, because I was one of those like, nah, no Botox, no fillers, nothing. And I'm still kind of like, yes, like if I have no lips, like no, they're tiny, tiny. My eyes are bigger than my lips for sure. And so the girls from work, they want to do fillers on my lips, and I'm like, no, like I know I do this for a living and I like it, but I at least right now I would say I would never get fillers. at least not on my lips. Like,
Why not?
it's something like, yeah, you know what? I don't know. And I'm not, I feel like because I have always been like that, like a tiny, tiny mouth and a huge eyes, that I feel like I would change my whole aspect, like, okay, now
Yeah.
I do have lips and my eyes, they look the same as my lips. Like, no, like I'm known for having like big eyes and small lips, and I don't want to change that. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like, yeah, it's something that I don't really like. It took me a while to get Botox, because I was like, okay, I want to know how it feels. I want to know how it works. I want to be able to tell my patients like, okay, this is what I felt. And actually, yes, I did like it. I want to do it again for sure. Like, I want to do it again. I was just waiting for me to compete so I can do it. So I think right now I will for sure.
Yeah. I love your
Yeah.
transparency. And I
Thank
think,
you.
yeah, of course. I think it's just one of those things where you don't really know until you learn about it, or like you said, you're exposed to it. And you mentioned the sunscreen thing, and I thought, wow, I've been like, okay, I need to be wearing sunscreen. Like I've seen a lot of dermatologists on Instagram like showing like, oh my goodness, I really need to do that. So can you tell us what are some of those things you've seen, and where should people be applying sunscreen on a daily basis and making sure that they're comfortable too? Because sometimes I get so uncomfortable if I'm like wearing a certain outfit and then I have sunscreen on. So how can people do it the best way to protect themselves and their skin?
Yes, actually, like I wouldn't say, of course, you have to like your whole body. You're gonna go, I don't know, to the park, to the pool. But the really important thing is about the face. Like, as long as you're wearing in your face, so you won't have like the pigment, the wrinkles. I actually like one. I like the ones that they're tinted, because, well, at least right now with the mask, there's a lot of people that are not really doing their makeup.
Yeah.
So with a tinted sunscreen, it looks like you had like a little bit of work, like you didn't just wake up and went to work. Like, it's tinted already. Seems like you have a little bit of a foundation, but it's just sunscreen. So actually what I work, well, they have that one that is tinted, which I love.
Mhm.
And there is a sunscreen that is a powder. So that one is really good because you don't look shiny, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like it because I look like super shiny. It seems like I'm sweating and blah, blah, blah. It's too oily. So that one, if you apply like your normal sunscreen and then you put the powder on top, which is still sunscreen, but it's just in a form of a powder, you don't look shiny. It looks like pretty much like you did your makeup, but you just wearing sunscreen. So I think you just have to find the right one for you. Of course, if you have like really oily skin, make sure that it's not based on oil. If you have really dry skin, well, yeah, you can use another one that is a little bit more oily. It's gonna make you look better. But I feel like as long as you use the sunscreen on your face, you're good. Like, you don't want to have all the sun on your face, like making the pigment get worse or the wrinkles to get worse. It just, and you can tell, like, right now that I've been using it, like, I can really tell a difference. And I'm telling you, like, to me before it was like, no, I'm not gonna wear sunscreen. Like, I'm not gonna spend some money on sunscreen if I can spend it on something else. It was one of those.
Yeah.
But yes, I feel like that one is just like, to me, just a good, just exfoliate your face and sunscreen. That's whatever like everybody's gonna need for sure for
Wow.
your skin. Yes.
I just love this information, this insight you've provided us. I mean, so many things that I haven't really gotten the chance to discuss on this show before, and you're bringing it to light. And I am grateful for that, along with you sharing about your journey and your experiences as an athlete too. And I'm just really grateful you came on. And I always like to end the episode by asking for your best advice for girls who have never competed before but want to, and then your best advice for girls on their road to pro.
Okay, so I would say for the girls that never competed before, um, get a good coach. I think that would help you. Don't try to do it by yourself. The way that you look yourself sometimes is not the same that somebody else is gonna look at you. I will tell you, like, there were some days that I would be like, I don't feel like I'm ready to go to a show. Like, I don't feel like I was ripped, and I was scared like I was gonna look flat on stage because I was tiny. I was 89 pounds when I went onto stage. So that was the lowest I ever been. So I was like, I'm gonna look extremely flat. So you need somebody else's eye to train you, to coach you, like to guide you. So I would say get a really good coach that you trust them for sure, and don't change them just because you didn't win. That is saying a lot of girls have been asking me as well, like, oh, you know what? I want to change to Team Atlas because I didn't place good on this one, and my coach, he's not really like replying to me and blah, blah blah. Like, I will be honest, like there's sometimes James, his way to reply to me is just with the see on Facebook when you give the heart, like just like a like. That's his way of replying. Like, of course, he has like 100 girls training, but it doesn't mean he doesn't care. It's just like at least he's replying to you. You know, like you're not gonna change for another coach just because you feel like you're not the main focus and attention right now. So I would say get someone that you really trust, and don't change it just because it didn't give you the result that you wanted. Of course, if you're really working for it and you give it 100 and they're not really like changing your diet or anything, yes. But I mean, if not, just stick to someone that really knows your body and practice your posing for sure. Like day one, practice your posing. I think as a first time competitor, you enjoy it a little bit more because you're excited. You want to like talk to everybody backstage and take a lot of pictures in your journey, and you're like, I'm doing this and blah blah. But for the national stage, I think you're a really like more center. Like you're like, okay, I'm doing this because I really want this. I want my pro card. And most of us, we want the pro card because our main goal is to get to Olympia. So I even seen it like on nationals, like a lot of people, they take it by themselves backstage. They're not really like talking to each other as much as a first timer like competitor, I would say. Um so pretty much I would say first time competitors, like enjoy it as much as you can, practice your posing, and as a national stage, like give your best. It's gonna be a hard, really hard, like I don't know, you're gonna do it for weeks, for months, or for how long you're gonna do it is usually what, like 12 to 16 weeks. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna like you're not gonna go out as much as you used to. You're gonna have no social life. You're gonna I like to me it got to the point like I wouldn't do anything. Like I wouldn't go eat with anybody because I didn't want to have the temptation. Like I wouldn't do anything that it wouldn't be related to eating, working out, and cardio. Like I have no social life for 6 months, and I didn't care. You know, like you have to go with a mentality like if you really want this, you're gonna give your all. You're gonna have to sleep less. You're gonna have to eat less. You're gonna look tired all the time, and people, they're gonna tell you look tired. They're gonna try to tell you not to do it because on their eyes it's not healthy. But I would say just go for it if you really want it. And posting for sure. Like I'm always gonna say posting because that's one of the things that I know it was hard for me and I'm lacking. And I wish I would have started practicing before. So on my last weeks, I wouldn't be like as stressed because of my posting. And you know what? I really got me before nationals. I was practicing my posing so bad and I couldn't get it that I even injured my ribs. I was like,
wow.
oh my God. Yes, and bad, like to the point, like you would go, like I was driving, and if I would do a turn to my left, it would hurt my ribs. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like 3 weeks before hitting the stage. So I was like, okay, if I wouldn't done my posting before, I would have got it right. This would have never happened. So I think you can avoid little things so it wouldn't be as excessive at the end. So just feel like, I don't know, you have to enjoy, you really have to like it, and you have to enjoy the journey so you can be happy with it. And just know it's gonna be hard. Like I'm still learning. I'm still trying to have a pretty much a normal life. Like I told you, like without being afraid of going out to eat in a restaurant or eating something that I didn't prep because I think they're gonna put some extra that I didn't need. Like yeah, you're gonna fluctuate on your weight. Your coach is gonna tell you you look bloated, but so what? You can fix it. You know, you can learn from it and fix it and learn what is it that your body is not really adjusting to it. Like now I know I'm not gonna have ice cream because I'm gonna be all bloated. So anymore, like I have to compensate for something else. But it's good. Like I think just go as it is, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, you don't have to force it. You can have a healthy lifestyle and not competing. Like I don't know. I think you'll see on your first show, you'll know for sure if this is something that you want to do it, or if it was something that you just wanted to do it just because you wanted to see how it felt, you know?
Yes, definitely. Oh, I love that advice. Thank you.
And no, you're welcome.
And I'm, again, just so grateful that you came onto the show and that you shared so much of your personal experiences as well as your knowledge and education and just everything that you've learned thus far as well. So appreciate that. I'm going to be cheering you on as you work towards your goal of getting on the Olympia stage.
Thank you so much. That's the goal. I hope so.
Of course. And can you let everybody know where they could connect with you, maybe even support your business and just share with you how much they enjoyed the episode?
Yes, of course. So, well, social media, Instagram for sure. It's Dani, would be spelled DANNIE BR, which is my last name, Burrola Reyes. And for the business, it's actually just it's Strong Pompis, just as it sounds. Strong Pompis is POMPIS. Yes, you're gonna see an old post from Strong Pompis, but I'm telling you, like, I'm trying to get back at it. I've seen even here, I don't know whatever you live at, but over here is still like there's a lot of people trying to take some precautions still. So I know a lot of people that don't even want to go back to the gym still. So I feel it's a really good option. And even if you're at the gym, like, you're always gonna use resistance bands for everything, upper body, lower body, for everything. So yeah, definitely I'm gonna go back to it. So start promoting again.
Awesome.
Now that we have more time. Yes.
Definitely. I'll make sure I put the link to those pages in the show notes. So that's always on celestial.fit/podcast for those of you listening. Danny's episode will be at the very top of the page, but if you're listening in the future, just scroll down to the category section. You'll be able to find that, all the show notes with episode timestamps, the summary of what we covered, and of course, all the links so you can support her and show some love as well. And just appreciate you guys listening so much and for tagging us as you do. It means a lot to me as well as the athletes, of course. And if you feel inspired to leave a rating or a review, that always goes a long way too. So really appreciate your guys' listenership and always tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Can't wait for next week with you all. And Danny, thank you again for coming on.
Of course. Thank you, Celeste. I'm really, really happy like you contact me.
Me too. I'm very happy and hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode.